Well, hello there. I am Robert Spencer Knotts, but you can call me Bob. Bob to my friends. And I'm hoping you're going to be one of those friends and that you're going to want to come back to this new YouTube channel that I have created. And it's all about this book that I've written. This is my 25th book. But anyway, you know what? I know what some of you folks are saying. You're going, well, all right, we got another old white guy who's going to hand down some wisdom or whatever, right? Well, okay. Old? I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm 66. I admit it. To a lot of you, that sounds really ancient, I'm sure. But the reality is, in today's world, a lot of people live to be 100, right? So I kind of think of it as late middle age, you know? So I don't think I'm really old. Lots of energy and enthusiasm. Some people are old when they're 20, aren't they? So the white part, well, yeah, that is definitely me. You know, I was born in Detroit, grew up in the Midwest, the good old solid Midwestern type family, some of which you'll read about just briefly in this book of mine called Beyond Me. Well, I don't know. Would this be any better? Let's try something else. How about this? Go the old comic book route, you know? Kind of reddish, I don't know what color, purpley. Well, not much better, I don't know. Or we could try this. You know, kind of a pen and ink drawing effect, right? Color isn't that obvious, but you know what? I just need to be who I am, and I hope that you're going to accept me as who I am. Because that's what this book's about. All of us accepting who we are, knowing who we are. And the book says we're each of us kind of wonderful. That's what this book is about. The amazing human individual, and how so many times we're confused and we waste our potential because we don't realize how wonderful we are. We're waiting for the world to tell us. Let me explain a little bit more. Let me come back to being me here. You know what? Let's lose this selfie thing. I kind of did that on purpose because it's ironic when you get to know what the book really is about. The book, where did I put that book? I put it right here. There's the book. The book is called Beyond Me, Dissecting Ego to Find the Innate Love at Humanity's Core. A new psychology as philosophy. It's 600 pages, and I need every word of it. And I think you just might be fascinated if you're interested in the human mind and in self-improvement and in trying to get the most out of yourself and stopping all this self-sabotage that so many of us do. So the deliberate selfie thing at the beginning, I meant as a kind of a joke because, like, we're all so self-obsessed in today's world. This book is about moving beyond me to something even better, where you really find out what your true gifts are and the person that you really can be if you will just see beyond immediate self-interest. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. Hold on here. Let's try something different. Something doesn't look quite right here. Hold on. And let's stop the subtitles, okay? It gets tedious, I think, and distracting. So you'll have to turn your sound up from now on if you want to hear what I have to say. Old white guy that I am. Haha. And of course, for the hearing impaired, YouTube allows you to get captions. So we'll take it from there. But first, a turn of the camera. Okay, we're back. Camera's the right way this time. You can actually really read the title, Beyond Me, Dissecting Ego, to find the innate love at humanity's core. I mean every word of that title. That's what this book really tries to deliver in its 600 pages. And the sort of a secondary subtitle is A New Psychology as Philosophy. You'll see that I mean that too. This book attempts to lay out a very detailed new psychology that I call psychophysics. And that term has been used before. Most of the terms that I coin in here have not, but to me, that was the only word that could express the ideas that I had for this physics of the mind, literally involving the strength of emotions and so on. You'll see what I mean. Just a word about the book in terms of the depth and size of it. I spent 5 years writing this book, and it is the product of 45 years, quite literally, of very detailed empirical research. It is something that I have felt passionately about all my life in trying to find a better understanding of my own mind and then of the minds of other people based on that personal experience, and then try to extrapolate that into a broader psychology and philosophy. So let me read you just a couple of little passages here in our first session now that we've gotten the technical details straightened away. This is from the preface, short little section. At its core, Beyond Me probes for the intersection between psychology and philosophy, based entirely on the empirical. Chapter by chapter, it lays out a highly detailed personal experience intended to reveal some unrecognized facets of the human psyche, many hiding in plain sight. They've been there before us all along, awaiting our closer observation. For instance, students of the mind have long noted that our thoughts shape our individual existence. Beyond Me gives a detailed new account of human consciousness that says something else is going on, something that shapes our lives a fraction of a moment before the thoughts ever happen. You'll read about that starting in chapter 3, a topic that's further developed throughout the remainder of the book. Beyond Me posits new concepts to express the process by which we acquire our beliefs, how those beliefs affect our behavior, and why this happens. It offers a precisely worded psychological law, explains key elements of human motivation through the use of numbers, and presents an equation of 3 letters and 2 mathematical symbols that I believe expresses a profound truth of our humanity. If this sounds intriguing to you, then do press on, dear reader. I think you will find it intriguing if you're into the mind, if you are into understanding yourself, as I had said earlier. I think I was kind of shaded differently at the time, as I recall. But let me get a little bit more specific. This is something from chapter 1, and it's a short section also, but you might find it interesting because it deals with a very key element of the book, something I call identity failure. Year by year during my life's meandering journey, the dark confusions about me very slowly crystallized into a revelation. My worst struggles weren't the necessary result of my basic nature as a human being. They were an affliction, a malady of mind. I needed more than 40 years of introspection and reflection to discover that my battles over self-concept are understood best as the result of a wondrously complex psychological phenomenon I've named identity failure, or IF for brevity. Here is the broad brush outline of that mental process as I observe it. I am forever attempting to validate an array of self-images that I've accumulated during my life as accurate representations of me. They exist only in my head. I call these identity poses. Bob the writer, Bob the nice guy, Bob the deep thinker, and so on. Every one of them a distortion of reality. Each identity pose is an inflexible and irrational concept of Bob, though a large part of me firmly feels they are real. But I also was raised to believe that I need confirmation by other people in order to fully accept these self-images as true components of my personality. I may see myself as Bob the nice guy until someone else suggests I'm not so nice. Then the doubts return. Unfortunately, for many reasons I'll explain later, I never can confirm these self-images to my satisfaction for long, if at all. This causes the repeated collapse of my inner sense of individual identity to varying degrees. My belief in Bob's best qualities begins to fail. Identity failure. So that is a major, major theme, and I believe that after traveling to 53 countries on 6 continents, I have yet to meet anyone that seemed to me not to need outside validation for a sense of who they were, and that they responded to that in a way that seemed to me excessive and irrational. We don't need to get our sense of who we are from the outside. We can get it from within, but we're not taught that. And I see that as a major problem for all of us as individuals, and therefore, by extension, for society itself. So that's a big theme in here, and then I explain why I believe that happens in significant detail and how I believe we can overcome it as individuals and not teach our children and raise our children in that way. So there's a lot of meat on these bones here of this book, and I'm hoping that you'll want to come back for our next little session here on YouTube, where I'm going to be talking about more sections of the book and more of the ideas in the book, and that perhaps at some point you'll want to buy it and read it for yourself. So I'm Robert Spencer Knotts. This is Beyond Me, and welcome to the new YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.